So this is our big news story.
The
It's
walkout.
just hit.
Yep, just before stream.
Yeah, so we expect that the leadership will be willing to work with us, but if they don't, we will continue to apply pressure through the various avenues we have to do so. We do not plan to stop demanding change in this area until we achieve it. And yes, the developers in the Irvine office of Blizzard are planning a walkout on the 28th of July, which is, well, as I record this, tomorrow. I have a statement of intent here. Given last week's statements from Activision Blizzard Incorporated and their legal counsel regarding the DFEH lawsuit, as well as a subsequent internal email from Francis Townsend, who is not a popular person just about anywhere it seems, and the many stories shared by current and former employees of Activision since, we believe that our values as employees are not being accurately reflected in the words and actions of our leadership. As current employees, we are holding a walkout to call on the executive leadership team to work with us on the following demands in order to improve conditions for employees at the company, especially women, and in particular women of color and transgender women, non-binary people, and other marginalized groups. 1, to end the mandatory arbitration clauses in all employee contracts, current and future. Arbitration clauses protect abusers and limit the ability of victims to seek restitution. Basically, right? That means that you go and you deal with something in arbitration instead of it being any form of like court thing, which basically means solve the problem without the discovery part of a legal case happening, because the discovery part is when like you've legally got to turn over your records and documents. Companies want to avoid that shit, so they do mandatory arbitration clauses in employment contracts. The staff don't want that anymore.
It's exactly the same as happened over in Riot.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, where they had the same problem. All of the stuff that was happening internally that was bad got covered up because it went to arbitration that Riot controlled. And that was that.
Yeah.
So just the same shit. Like,
Point 2, the adoption of recruiting, interviewing, hiring, and promotion policies designed to improve representation among employees at all levels, agreed upon by employees in a company-wide diversity, equity, inclusion organization. Current practices have led to women, in particular women of color and transgender women, non-binary peoples, and other marginalized groups that are vulnerable to gender discrimination, not being hired fairly for new roles when compared to men. And there's like there are, if you look at like some of the stories people are sharing from Blizzard, just stuff of people being like, oh yeah, hey, you make a good secretary over in that building, which is like a pretty demeaning way to talk to somebody who's, qualified in an engineering job, right? 3, publication of data on relative compensation, including equity, grants and profit sharing, promotion rates, and salary ranges for employees of all genders and ethnicities at the company. Current practices have led to aforementioned groups not being paid or promoted fairly. And 4, empower a company-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion task force and hire a third party to audit Activision Blizzard King's reporting structure, HR department, which is a department that's came under a lot of fire, and executive staff. It is imperative to identify how current systems have failed to prevent employee harassment and to propose new solutions to address these issues. I mean, like, these are real issues. Like, literally, like, within Activision Publishing, a woman died, right? Like, a woman died. Took her own life after having pictures of her genitals being shared around at some party of Activision. This is not Blizzard Entertainment, I believe. I believe this one is Activision. Activision employees. And, she took her own life on a business trip with her boss, where her boss, who we believe had been sexually harassing her, brought lube in a butt plug. So you're like, man, it's insane. So as for the walkout details, will take place Wednesday, July 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., where people will meet in the front gate of the Blizzard campus. They will not enter the Blizzard campus due to current COVID health and security measures. Parking should be restricted to the open parking lot, building 5 and 6 area, and there's no access gate to it. Employees unable to meet in person may lend their voice to the walkout by stopping work and sharing their participation on social media with the ActiBliz Walkout hashtag. If you belong to a different studio, please feel free to customize the hashtag to your studio. And the thing there is, you might think, oh, it's whatever, it's that. But if every single employee steps out for like 4 hours, Number one. Come on, they're not. It's not like they're not going to be hard at work. That's 9:48 a.m. Are they? No. So you're probably going to be losing 5 or 6 hours effectively because staff will be talking about this afterward in Slack and stuff. So you're going to be losing like 6, 7. Basically, you may as well just lose a full day of actual proper productivity from every single staff there. That's a lot of hours, a lot of stuff you're missing out on, and it's the sort of thing where get onto this story as well. Is there any wonder that there's a shareholder lawsuit against execs at Activision Blizzard for failing their fiduciary duties? Because you're definitely failing the best interests of shareholders when you let all of these problems run at the company. So there you go. Strike. And Riot did that too.
Yeah, this is basically textbook in terms of how to solve problems. And it seemed to, I haven't heard anything in a while, which I'm going to assume might be a good thing. But it happened at Riot as well. And it seems like for all the problems people may have with the idea of a diversity, equity, and inclusion task force for whatever reason, they may or may not have, it seems to have worked fairly well over there. At least I remember seeing, it was communication from the leader of the force or from the task force, so it's going to be tilted in their favor. But I remember seeing like the 1 year progress update from the lady that ran that, and I was like, I see you've brought some sort of data to back up the fact that you're actually, you're actually seeming to try to improve things. So it's kind of textbook, but I think it feels like they're kind of maybe lowballing it a little bit in terms of, but they are ultimately under the yoke of Activision.
They're
Blizzard,
under the yoke, and
so
they did say like,
the best.
if this shit doesn't work, it seems like they're saying we're going to do more.
Yeah. So it's
and there's also the side story here. Like whenever I woke up this morning, there was news of the open letter from the employees.
Yes, the open letter.
And when I woke up, it was like 1,000 people had signed that out of 10,000 employees. If 10% of your workforce is signing that, that's pretty big. The most recent number is 2,500 actually. So 25% of Activision Blizzard's workforce, which is a bit like up to 10,000 people around there, have done this. You can expect that number to increase over time as well.
Yeah, it's not like an open letter is massive in terms of what it will accomplish immediately, but it is a statement of intent of this is the amount of people that are not on your side and are happy to have their name not on your side.
Yeah. Which
is fairly major. Like
it is. And there's, I've seen people say, oh, it's just Activision. They'll just fire everyone and, rehire people. Like if you know how development works, that won't work, because if you get rid of that many people, the amount of institutional knowledge that you lose, people who know how to use the development tools for that engine, especially, at Blizzard, right? Overwatch, proprietary engine. Diablo 4, proprietary engine. World of Warcraft, very proprietary, very old, janky engine. Where, think about it, right? Like, as an example, the only development experience that, like, I've got in a modern engine really is with Unity. Yeah. Now, if you just throw me in front of Unreal Engine, I'm going to be able to navigate its front end easily and stuff like that. But if I go and start trying to write scripts, I'm used to the Unity mono behavior.
Yeah.
The amount of new things I'm going to have to learn for how, say, Epic have done that for their engine. But the difference is, if I knew I was going to go to Epic's engine, I'd be like, well, okay, I'll just download it. It's literally free. I'll download it and I'll learn it. You can't do that with WoW Edit. Or whatever tool they use, because I think their bosses and stuff are scripted in Lua. How do you know, right? A new person, it's the ramp-up time for a new employee in a game that's, loads of proprietary tech and practices and things. It's going to be massive. You can't just gut a team and replace them. That's not how it works with developers and human capital. That ain't it. So this is just sending a message of like, hey, World of Warcraft, as an example, World of Warcraft is your second biggest game. You fucking need us. So fucking listen. And I think that's what the staff are doing, and they're right to if they're being treated like shit.
Yeah, I can only hope that they're actually listened to in any reasonable capacity, because it's
what is going to make a company like that listen? Certain thing going down.
Shareholder revolts and money going away.
Yeah. Funnily enough, there is both. Both of those things are going on. So let's bring up like a 1 month for that.
Anyone want to play some Curb Your Enthusiasm music?
Oh, look, all the shareholder value plummeted. Now, yeah, sure, it'll go down, then it'll go up. Now, that going up is because for a lot of people, they're going to see, oh, big stock drop, I'll buy the dip. And then, so some of that, that can be attributed to technical stuff, just sort of people playing how the market works to, flip a quick buck. But, if say Bobby has got all of, so much of his money, his net worth tied up in Activision Blizzard stock, and that stock goes from 95 to say, let's just say it hits 80.
Yeah, he's chilling there at 90, like from...
then it's like GG, you've lost 10% of your money.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, well, that was after the Shadowlands launch was like, look, we've made all the money in the world. Absolutely record sales. Fastest selling game in the world. Sorry, fastest selling PC game, before Cyberpunk dethroned it. Look at well, maybe those two belong in the same category for multiple reasons, but it's like man, like looking at it, was it 1 year? Yeah, look at that recovery with Shadowlands launch and with all of the Call of Duty victories they had, and everything else going on, all fantastic stuff, and now they're back down to almost half of before that, which is they're going to feel that big time. Yeah, they're going to feel that. I really wish it would go down, this far.
It would be nicer if it went down more, but...
it'd be nice to see.
But it's the sort of thing, people know that there are aspects of the fundamentals of this business where, like, if this dips to, like, 70, the people are like, oh, shit, dump your money in because we know Call of Duty does well. And we know that they're like, a bunch of their things will just make... That's how the market shit works. But, point is, market's not responding super good. Yeah. And there's also the lawsuit.
Yeah, you don't want to see this on your, like, whenever you're looking up things like, oh, the Motley Fool's saying, why Activision tumbling today? And then it's going to ask me.
Oh, wow, the Motley Fool are going to talk about the new Sylvanas or Toronto cinematic.
Probably. Let's get rid of this shit.
Thank you, GDPR, making the internet for great to use.
Yep.
So, I mean, good legal protections, but man,
UI. Jeff Hallam himself been told, like, no work on game. They don't go into anywhere near as much depth, but all the same, it's like key points. Okay, employees mad. No work done on titles and hostile work environment. Is that I imagine someone who's got a load of someone with not a lot of time but a lot of money would have someone they would handle the stuff for them. And just wondering, hello, money person. Is it now a good time to sell Activision? And they go, it's you'll be out of this with a 20% gain on your like 5 million in, 10 million in, whatever. You're like, sell that shit. Like, why? I read the Motley Fool. No, they're not doing any work. All right. Okay. Sold. Easy. And that's, that's what starts the tumble down. But
yeah.
And if this lawsuit goes anywhere, that'll be a fun one. Scott & Scott Attorneys at Law, LLP, investigates Activision Blizzard Incorporated's directors and officers for breach of fiduciary duties. If you're not sure what fiduciary duties mean, I'm no expert, but it is in fact a duty to make money for your shareholders, or something to that effect. If you breach, then it is you're legally bound to make money for your shareholders. That's, well, this may be a topic for another day, but the idea of doing that in the short term versus the long term is probably how we're in all of these messes to begin with. But yeah, it's not really a whole pile to go on with this lawsuit, but it's just the idea that, like, if this hits the news for shareholders, you're like, well, here's what you can do. If you're an Activision shareholder, which I'm sure there's a lot of, and they're all very, very powerful people, you may have legal claims against Activision's directors and officers. And there you go. Literally just, do you want some money from the law? Do you want some money from Activision for, fucking with your money? Give us a shout. We'll get you sorted. And all it really does is it talks about the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, which is, the idea of the violations of the Equal Pay Act and the Fair Employment and Housing Act is mismanagement and bad management, which I would imagine falls under fiduciary duties, because if you mismanage your company, you're not going to make any money. Done.
Yeah, man. So
seem to be in full spirits about this.
that's Activision Blizzard's reckoning for the treatment of their own staff. They absolutely deserve it, and good luck to them tomorrow.
Yep.
On the walkout. Now, if you want more extended opinions from us, we may do something on the news channel tomorrow. We'll see. I've got a few appointments, but there is a 52-minute long big video from me and Matt on the news channel if you want to dive into a little bit more there.